I've got a horrible feeling that the fan in this 12 volt transformer will be giving up at any time soon. However, it does tell us that the ambient temperature in here, forget the HLT because I had that turned on for a little bit, is around 16.7 degrees. A day and a half after the brew, I've just emptied the mash tun. Reason for that was, a friend of mine's got this theory that you leave a mash tun, it starts to ferment itself, which of course it will, because there's a lot of natural yeasts in the grains that you then kill. Actually, you pull those yeasts off and you kill them in the kettle or a copper after you've sparged off. Now, I kind of like left the sparge going for a little bit longer after I'd got the amount of wort that I needed. So this morning, clearing that out, I noticed a couple of things. One, it was wham, 26.7 as opposed to 16.7. So the mash tun was 10 degrees higher, and the mash in there, the grist, was 10 degrees higher. Now, I know this is a bit pathetic, and it's also a bit stinky at the moment, but it gave me a kind of like an idea about this kind of naked fermentation thing where you don't boil stuff, you just let it ferment. I'm not going to with this. I did think about it. I did think about draining, because I reckon there's probably, if I was to filter that, I'd get a couple of litres. I was thinking just put it into a bottle and see how it goes. I'm not actually. I'm going to wash it all out and throw it all away. And this is going to go and feed the fishes because they love it. But that's just to illustrate 10-degree difference from leaving it 36 hours. It's not what you want to see, is it? You want to see what's in today's advent calendar. After the last couple of days of monumental fuck-ups, I'm going to be careful today, boys and girls. I am going to try. Here we are, day 8. I'm going to try and do it in a way that I can repair the box a little bit afterwards. I do apologise to Chris and Gemma who made these, because I'm stretching the box beyond belief. Today is, oh hey, now this is a bit of a rare treat. Lockdown at Bernie's. Now Chris and I both grew some yeast at the same time, which was the it was called Sanders yeast. It's WHC, Sanders yeast. So I banged up a starter of this, and I made, as you can see, new on my tap list. There, we've got it on there. Number one, Bernie's. What I did make with Brew 1, Citra, Sabro, Idaho 7, Azaka. There's also the happy ending. I've got a happy ending on tap there now as well, and the single digit response. Which single digit response down there? Here it is. So looking forward to that tonight. We went for different recipes, but I reckon this. Look at that. That's the man, the greatest president that America never had. So yeah, well, looking forward to this tonight. Cheers. On to the rest of the vlog. Enough about smelly mash tuns that haven't been cleaned out for a day. God, they do smell. Yesterday I made a bit of a hash of explaining this whole thing about the Valentine's arm, and I think it was partly because I hadn't quite got my own head around it at the time, and yeah, so I've knocked one up. It's ever so straightforward. The principle being that water will always find its own level. The next principle being that I want a very, very slow sparge. So if we imagine this is the mash tun, and we imagine that this is the output from the mash tun from underneath the grain bed, we're gently feeding water into the top to maintain an inch or so above the grain bed. How do we ensure that we always maintain that level again over the grain bed, while allowing ever so slow, gentle release of the wort from underneath the grain bed without pulling it through too quickly, compacting? We don't want too much sucking on the bed, so to avoid that compacting, we draw our wort off gradually. Ever so simple. It's so simple that even I understand it. Right, ignore this bit for the time being. At the moment, let us assume that our grain inside is at this level, so we actually want the water to be at this level. So we adjust our Valentine arm to be at the level, this here, to be at the level we want our water. Why do we do that? Water will always find its own level. So dum dum dum, that is where it is. Once it gets to here, it will drip down here, and we can pop a hose on here. Sorry, this is just a quick mock-up. We'll put just with our cam lock, pop a hose on there down into what be an underback. That'll be another video. Okay, this stops a siphon. If this wasn't here, if this was just a bend, what we'd effectively do is create a siphon, and it would just suck all the water out. Because there's this air inlet here, no siphon. So we will only ever, whatever level we want, if our grain bed's here and we want our level here, we just move this around. Obviously everything would be tightened up on the tri-camp fittings. So boom, you would open, and the wort would reach this level above the grain bed. So the grain bed's here. The more water you add would just push down and push the wort up, so you've got that gentle flow through. All this tap here is because at the end, when you've got all your wort out via your underback into your copper, you're just going to want to drain your mash tun. So that's purely for a drain. That's all that is. So that hopefully explains the Valentine arm principle. And when Chris mentioned it, I said, yeah, I forgot what he'd actually said. I remembered the underback because I like the idea of the kind of two switches. My project now, and it was Chris who mentioned both of those, and sorry, YouTube world ought to say Chris is Harry Brew 69. I'll put a link to his channel underneath. I don't know many people who know quite as much about brewing. He's probably forgotten more than I will ever actually learn. But he tried explaining this, but you know what I'm like. It didn't quite go in until I went off and read up about it and everything. Perfect way to ensure a really gradual, slow sparge. And a lot of this came off. Well, I know Chris mentioned it while we was over there in one of my previous videos. Sorry, Harry Brew 69. I mentioned it in one of my previous videos when I was over there. But a friend of mine over in America who does a lot of experimental brewing was saying, like, sometimes he'll try and get a 2.5-3 hour sparge. And you know, that kind of like fit in with me at the time, thinking I really want to sort of elongate I want a elongated sparge, and I don't want any sucking on the bed. I want it gentle, nice and gentle. So that was that. That's gone on a little bit. I hope that's made sense. If it has, and you like this complete twaddle, please feel free to subscribe to my little channel. It'd be wonderful to have you. Also, click the little vibratory bell. It will notify you every time I post something silly. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, click the like, and then that tells YouTube, it can tell other people that the video might be worth watching. Not going just yet. There's one more thing I've got to do today. Oh yes, oh yes. This is one that I have been looking forward to, and everybody else seems to have tried it first. Lockdown at Bernie's, made with the Saunders, WHC Saunders yeast, as I said earlier. And look, I've broken out the Spiegelau glass because this is a special ale. Let's get it in that glass. For just the aroma initially hits you. It is fruity. Oh. That has got it all. What can you say? Apart from Chris, Harry Brew 69, it's a winner. That's all for tonight, boys and girls. You take care now.